Hi guys, so in this video we're going to be walking you through the 5 common mistakes men make over the age of 30 when it comes to them wanting to get in great shape. So for context, in the last 5 years, myself and our team of nutritionists have helped over 600 men not only transform how they look, their appearance, their physiques, but also their health markers and just generally their energy on a daily basis. Most of our clients are extremely busy, whether that be because they have busy jobs or families, and one of the reasons why they often want to get in shape other than looking better and improving your health markers is that they just want to perform better, they want to have more energy. So I've distilled, some of the mistakes that people often make before working with us into this short video so you can hopefully benefit what we've seen with our clients. So the first mistake I often see people make is that they overlook the importance of recovery. Now, as you get older, whenever you're 30, 40, 50, the older you get, the more important recovery is for a variety of reasons. The first reason, looking at my, referring back to my physiotherapy background, if you aren't recovered and you're not sleeping well, your body isn't getting a chance to properly basically rebuild itself to be bigger and stronger. So let's say, for example, you go to the gym and you do a really tough workout. Whenever you're sleeping, that's whenever your body is essentially rebuilding those tissues. So your tendons, your ligaments, and your muscle tissues all take strain and load when you're working out. So you need to be providing yourself with enough time, with enough rest, in order for those structures to actually recover properly. If you don't give them enough time and you're not sleeping well, next time you go into the gym or next time you do some form of physical activity, there's a higher likelihood that you're actually going to injure yourself because those structures haven't been given the time they need to properly recover. So the second reason why recovery is so important is as you get older, your hormone levels start to basically decrease. So whenever you're in your teenage years, your testosterone levels are at like a peak, your growth hormone levels are at a peak. And then as you kind of get closer to 30, those levels start to decrease slightly. So in order for you to ensure that those levels don't decrease at a faster rate, you want to make sure you're giving yourself enough time to actually recover. So trying to get a good 8 hours of sleep per night will decrease the rate at which your hormone levels decline. Okay, so the second mistake a lot of people make as they get older is that they ignore mobility work. So as I say, I've been a physiotherapist for the last 10 years, and I can't tell you how many times I've had patients into clinic tell me that they've suffered with an injury that could have otherwise have been easily avoided had they have just prioritized mobility in addition to their training. I speak to a lot of people that are, physically, aesthetically, they look in great shape, they have good nutrition, good training habits, but their mobility routine just isn't there. So despite looking great, they still have a high chance of actually having injuries. So you want to make sure that you're dedicating a certain amount of time to mobility work and doing some dynamic and static stretches. So I would suggest if you're, working out and you're training maybe 3 to 4 times a week, I would suggest maybe at least 3 of those sessions to maybe dedicate maybe 10 minutes, wouldn't take you too long, to do some dedicated mobility work. And by doing mobility work like that, you're decreasing the chances that you're actually going to have an injury from your training. So the third common mistake I see is that people either dedicate themselves to either cardio or resistance-based training and they don't really incorporate the two of those things. It's really important to have a combination of both cardio and weights. So for cardio, the reasons are very self-explanatory as to why you would need that. You need to make sure that you're doing cardio regularly to ensure that your cardiovascular health is where it needs to be. Men in particular, we're at higher risk of having cardiovascular issues, so it's so important that we have a certain amount of cardio, dedicated cardio in your week. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. I typically find that clients are able to reduce their cardiovascular health markers, if their cholesterol, their blood pressure, things along those lines. By doing cardio 3 times a week, 15 to 20 minutes maximum would be sufficient for most people. You also want to be incorporating resistance-based training as well. Not only for the aesthetic benefits, but as a physiotherapist, we want to make sure that our muscles are obviously nice and strong as you get older, but we also want to make sure that we're increasing our joint integrity. So whenever you do resistance-based training and you're loading, muscle groups, essentially, you're not just loading your muscles and forcing them to get stronger and adapt, you're actually doing the same with your joint health as well. So I used to work with a lot of patients that would come in to see me having had a knee replacement or hip replacement, and oftentimes whenever you look at their previous exercise history as when they were younger, they didn't really dedicate themselves to doing resistance-based training. If you want healthier joints as you get older and to reduce the chance of you having injuries, aches and pains, prioritizing resistance-based training as part of that would be ideal. So if we were to kind of summarize that point, we want to be doing a combination of both cardio and resistance-based training. Cardio, I would say, 2 to 3 times a week, 15-20 minutes would be sufficient, and resistance-based training 3 to 4 times a week, kind of maximum. You wouldn't really need to do more than that for around 30 to 45 minutes, depending on how much time you have available, is what I would recommend. So number 4 is cutting your calories too drastically. That's another common pitfall I see with people. So whenever you're in a calorie deficit, which is necessary for weight loss, if you go too far into a deficit, you actually increase the chances of you losing muscle mass, which in turn slows your metabolism. To prevent this, you want to make sure that your calorie intake supports your activity level and provides enough nutrients to fuel your workouts. So if you want to lose body fat, but you don't want to lose muscle in the process, you don't want to stray too far into a calorie deficit. You want it to be just shy of your maintenance mark. So your maintenance, if you're watching this, you're not sure what that is. That's basically where your energy intake through calories is equivalent to the amount of energy that you expel through exercise and through, normal daily activities like walking, etc. So you want to make sure that, you're just below that, not too far below that. Otherwise, yes, you'll lose body fat, but you'll lose a lot of muscle in the process, which is not what we want because it'll ruin your metabolism. So the 5th mistake a lot of men make is that they don't get regular blood tests done. Now this gets particularly more important as you get older, and I've seen it before where people are otherwise fit and healthy on the surface. They look good, they're within a healthy weight category, their BMI is kind of within healthy range. Now I don't necessarily feel like BMI is the best measure of someone's health, but just throwing that out there. But we've had clients like that get blood tests done, and their blood tests have came back and their cholesterol levels are way, way higher than what they should be, or they're maybe borderline type 2 diabetic, and that person had never had any idea that that's the state their health was in. So as the saying goes, the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. At least if you had that information, you can take proactive steps to improve those values. So for example, we've had many clients that have come on board to work with us that want to lose a little bit of weight. We get their blood test taken and their cholesterol levels are through the roof. Through a few simple changes to their nutrition and a few specific supplements that we add in, within a few weeks their cholesterol levels can get back to a normal range. If we hadn't had those blood tests done, we wouldn't necessarily know that. We wouldn't have given them advice to maybe change that part of their nutrition or add in that supplement, and otherwise they could have potentially had high cholesterol for a longer period of time. So getting blood tests done, at least it just gives you a full picture of what's going on, and then you can take proactive steps to improve what other health marker needs work on. Hope you guys found that video useful, and if you do have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section below, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks.